What up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Live My Fearless. Welcome back to another entry to my Fearless Show podcast. Today, date is March 29th, 2020. My guest joining me today is Mr. Bobby Jones. Say what up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? My name is Bobby Jones.
So, we go back, we go back a ways. People I don't know, we both played basketball overseas. First met back in Italy. I think I dunked on you back in 2000.
Oh, that's how we started off.
14, 13, 14, something like that. You were in Rome. I was in Capo di Orlando, and then we ended up playing on the same team together the next year. So,
and then I dunked on you back.
Definitely don't recall that.
Make sure you have some B-roll of both of our dunks so they can visually see what's going on.
You can find mine on my Instagram page. For everybody that wants to go back, scroll down a little bit. You'll see it.
Also, but, my college was your college in college hoops too. Don't forget to let the people know.
Your college does what?
Our college whooped your college when y'all played us head to head.
We beat y'all.
Not at UW.
Y'all didn't beat us at Nevada either, so it's 1-1. What you mean?
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, and y'all was ranked at the time too.
I just want to remind the people that our ties go back even before Italy.
Yeah, it's all right. We got a dub over y'all. Y'all got one, but we got one over y'all. So you want to hop on and just tell everybody, a little bit about yourself and your journey to this point.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, like Dario said, we met in Italy, but was teammates, played against each other. Before I came to Italy, I played 2 years in the NBA, played 4 years at the University of Washington, 4-year starter, made the tournament 3 times, Sweet 16 2 times, played with guys like Nate Robinson, Brandon Roy. High school, I'm from Compton, California. I went to Dominguez High School. I played with Tyson Chandler for 3 years. In my senior year, I went to Long Beach Poly. That's the school known for like Snoop Dogg, Cameron Diaz. I played with guys like Mercedes Lewis, NFL tight end for like 12, 13 years. I'm 36 now, so I'm still doing it. I'm still hooping. Lasted longer than most of my buddies my age, and I'm over here in Italy at the moment.
So you hooped with Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler recently said that the Coach Carter was about him.
Coach Carter, you talking about Samuel, Coach Carter?
Yeah, he said, what's his name? He said Ty Crane or something like that. He said this was really about him.
Well, I don't know about that, but FYI, they filmed part of Coach Carter at my high school, Long Beach Poly. Not inside the gym, not that shitty gym. That shitty gym is not my high school. Everything else was my high school, not the gym. So just so people know. But yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, nowadays, we're a little older, so a lot of stuff can't be fact checked. So I'm just going to say, but from my recollection, we did not have a Coach Carter deal at our high school. We won a national championship. I won 3 state championships in 4 years. I was on varsity as a freshman. So we did not have a Coach Carter storyline.
All right. So you said you played in the NBA, but I think there was also something. It was when you were in the D League. It was the D League back then. I think you had a record for most call-ups. Is that what it was?
Well, the wording is funny. So my rookie year, I played in Philadelphia. I got drafted early second round pick. It was the year AI got traded to Denver. That was my rookie year. And then my second year, I started off with Philly, and I got traded like literally 2 days before the season started to Denver. So I ended up being with AI again, Melo, Marcus Camby, J.R. Smith. It was a crazy team, man. Definitely
the hoodest team ever.
Yeah, they were before the Heatles and all these super teams. But it was good times over there. And then when I got traded, I had to restructure my contract because the business side, the team basically told me we restructure it, make it partial, or we'll just cancel your contract and you will be cut before the season started. Because I had an exception. If I made it to the first day of the season, my contract was guaranteed. So they told me the day before, like, either we cut you and you won't get no money, or restructure. You can stay with us to December, January, and then we'll make a decision about the remainder of the season. So I said, okay, I had no choice but to accept. So I stayed there till my birthday, which is January 9th. They told me the day of my birthday, we actually played at home against Philadelphia too, my former team. And I came into the office and the GM told me, we're going to let you go. But I still suited up and I still, I didn't play, but I stayed on the bench and I didn't tell nobody. So I had to actually just keep it to myself because, it was my birthday. I was playing against my former team and I got cut. Happy birthday, right?
Hell of a birthday.
And then after that, I went to 4 more teams that same season. So I played on 5 NBA teams in one season, which is an NBA record.
Yeah, crazy.
Memphis, San Antonio, Miami.
It's definitely a business. And, I had my little stint in the D League, and I'll just say it's not something that I plan on ever going back to.
What team did you play on in the D League? What city?
Rio Grande.
Okay, so after my second year, after I did all that, I played the next year in the D League. I was in Sioux Falls Skyforce. Shout out to all them.
Yeah.
It was. I had to live in South Dakota. It was super cold. Not used to that at that time in my life. The team I was on was a bunch of guys who, basically they didn't have the talent to make it to the NBA. So the D League can be helpful or it can hurt you. It depends on your team. The team I was on, it didn't help me. It only gave me bad habits. So we had a bad season. I didn't get any call-ups. So it was easy for me to say, you know what, I'm going overseas. If I was in a better city, a better team that was connected directly to the team, who knows, how it would have played out. But that D League experience for me was horrible. So I told myself, I need to make some money. I need to go.
I was probably at the time, definitely, if not the best, top 2-3 best, situations D League wise, team wise. They were directly connected, affiliated. They actually put money into their organization.
Yeah, for sure. I always heard
then it was like rough. I can only imagine being on a team. I don't know back then, but I know when I was playing, Sioux Falls probably like 3 affiliations. So
yeah, we did.
So for people that don't know how that works, when they say affiliations, means like the team that they can send players to. So if you're on a team with multiple affiliations, each team can send out basically two players. So they can send down a player almost every game, every week, whatever. There's always somebody basically coming down, which means less playing time for you, less opportunity, less, a little everything. And it also means, they're less focused on the players they have on team because there's 3 different teams they're worried about. And it could be rough. I'll say that. It's a lot better from what I'm hearing, but
they came a long way now. Like they got the 2-way contracts, and it's totally different from when I was there. Probably for sure when you was there, since we wasn't there at the same time. But like I said, if I was in the G League now, I probably would weigh my options a little more differently because most teams have only 1 direct, maybe 2 at the most. So
everybody's starting to get their own. They're starting to do it the right way. It should be run kind of like the baseball minor league system is run. I think they do that the right way, and they actually pay their players, so that they don't have to look for other options all the time and worry about, paying after the season. Because I remember after the season, luckily I played in Europe before I came back and then did the D-League. So I had some money already sitting. But if I didn't and then wait and come to the end of the season and looking like, man, like that'd be a rough off season because you just don't get enough to even like save or hold on to. Like
it was just enough for groceries for the month. Like it was, because I don't know if you was there. They had 3 different scales. So I had the A scale, which was the highest, but it wasn't that much, obviously. But
it was, I had the same.
So it was just enough for groceries, and like you said, I didn't lose no money, but I didn't make no money. And after 2 years in the NBA, I was like, no, I refuse to lose any more money right now. Like that was my mindset. So
I respect people who can grind through it, but I know for me, I was like, I can't keep doing that.
I knew dudes who stayed down there for 5 to 8 years. It was, I don't know why. After so many years, you have to just come to the realization it might be a dream of yours and you can be determined. That's all fine and all. But if you got a family, you're getting older, not younger, you better make your money, man. See the world. There's no problem with saying, I played overseas for these many years or I didn't make it. We're still doing something 2% of the world wish they could do. That's how you gotta look at it.
And not to mention, especially these days, it's just as easy almost to come from Europe to get back to the league because there's so many scouts and so many eyes on the top leagues these days. So it's like it's if anything, it's almost just as good of an option, if not better. So, as in some situations, for sure. Um, I mean, I know that's why a big reason is they did put a lot of pressure on the G League because Europe was coming up more and more exposure wise into the league and stuff. So the G League had to make some changes because people were like, if I'm not getting paid, I can just go over here, do your thing for a couple years, come back in the summer, take a shot then. But like I said, like I know some guys, I'm not gonna name names, who played 8-9 years, got nothing to show for it, but then try to come to Europe at the end. It's like, man, it's over. Like after 8-9 years, they're not looking at you like they would have if you would have came over earlier. And so you're gonna start from the bottom, and you don't got so many years to start from the bottom again. So it's
so funny story now. So you play with David Moss, of course. The people out there, David Moss.
Steve Moss. What up, bro?
He's been in the league for just as long as me, maybe even longer. Won a couple championships in Siena. Very good players, hard worker, intangible guy.
The two oldest Italians I know, bro.
So after my D League season, I played summer league on the Portland Trail Blazers, and that was the last time I did summer league. But David Moss was on my team. And David Moss and me kind of go back in high school. I didn't realize it, but he played on the team with Eddie Curry. And Tyson and Eddie Curry in high school was the matchup. Like we went to St. Louis and played their team. So thinking back, I played against David in high school because he was on Eddie Curry's team. So I didn't know that at the time, but we keep connecting at different points of our lives. So back to the summer league. So we were on summer league together. I'm starting on the summer league team. And I kind of remember Dave, but I don't. He's a light-skinned dude. All light-skinned dudes look alike, more alike. And he's just growing them out, but he didn't have them, no. And so I played a lot of minutes. I started, I had a decent summer league, nothing special, but he didn't really play at all. And so it's funny, at that age, I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't remember you in the league, or you was in Europe or Italy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. After the summer league, Portland was like, no, we're not going, good luck, but we're not interested. So I told my agent, he was like, hey, I got a deal with you for you in Italy. And he like, literally, I'm at the airport about to leave summer league. He's like, I got a deal with you in Italy. I'm like, dang, man, give me like a week at least. He was like, nah, they want to know now. I was like, all right, cool. What's the team? And it was a small town called Teramo. It's near Rome, like an hour away. And so I was like, you know what? All right, fine, I'll go there. So I signed with that team. When I get there, I learned David was on that team the season before. And they had a good year that year. They went to the semifinals. They finished like top 3 in the league. So I think the coaches and staff, because they was there in summer league, so they were there and they saw that I was playing over David and starting over David. So I think that's the reason why they signed me to Teramo, because I was their player the year before, and he had a good year with them and everything. So I think that helped me go to that team and bring me to Italy because of David.
I appreciate it, Dave.
I didn't know that until like literally a year ago. I started thinking about it because I'm working on a memoir about my career in Italy, and yeah. I honestly believe that's what happened.
Hey, y'all go. Hey, the basketball world, one thing I did learn about the basketball world, especially overseas, is how small it is. And like every team I go to, I might not know that person directly, but I know somebody who knows that person like directly. And like there's literally like the Kevin Bacon was 6 degrees separation. Basketball is probably 1 degree of separation. Like honestly, especially once you get to these levels that we've been playing at, it's like everybody kind of knows of or knows somebody that knows, that person. And, you never know what you're going to run into or link up to. Like the connection you make is crazy.
It's just the longer you play, no matter if you're training, playing, or coaching, the basketball world does become smaller. I had a couple teammates last 2 years that were like first year out of college. And when I go back to my school in the summertime, I speak to my college, my college team. And my teammates now guys they played against in college. So it's like, wow, I'm not playing y'all, but a dude you played against at New Mexico or Santa Clara or whatever, he's my teammate now. So I let them know, like, I'm not that much older because you could easily be my teammate in a year or two. So don't trip. Don't trip.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's crazy. Like, looking back, like, man, I know all these people and just, you bump into them around the way, you run into them. And, like, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that come out of basketball is just the connections you can make and just how far that can take you if you use it the right way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I honestly don't think a lot of guys use it to their advantage because maybe they feel like they don't need to, or maybe they don't know how to do it the right way, or maybe they see it as them, sucking up or, I don't know. Everybody has their own reasons, but you have to take advantage of this brotherhood, this network system, because regardless of whatever you do after you're done hooping, if it's not connected to basketball, these people you meet know somebody who they might know can introduce you to help you or whatever. And if you ain't got a good character or a good relationship with them, they're not going to help you. They're not going to refer you. And unless you got money already or a family to put you through whatever you need to get through, you struggle after hoop.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, a lot of people ask me, like, what separates people from who played for as many years, as you have, and how many I've played, and how people have had like basically lengthy, successful careers versus people that, just as talented, maybe even a little more, but just, don't work out, don't, only get 1 or 2 years, and then you just don't hear from them for a while, which happens a lot, because there's a lot of people I just look back like, man, what happened to such and such, But I think what I found over the years is definitely attitude for one. You don't want to, in basketball world, how small it is, you don't want to get a bad reputation, because once you get that bad reputation, it's going to follow you everywhere. And people are going to be talking about you that you don't think you have any type of connections to, but the word gets around so quickly. And, it's a business and people aren't. And one thing I've learned, especially in basketball, especially people in the organizations, they have no problem bad mouthing, somebody that they think is a bad person who has a bad attitude, bad reputation. And they also, on the flip side, they also have no problem, praising somebody or bigging up somebody and, giving you that extra push or bump you need to get to wherever you need to go.
They don't care you're in their country. They basically know, like, you might not come back anyways. It's not like you can come back and tell people your side of the story. They care about their livelihood, their job. So, and my first couple of years were like that in Italy, actually, because I was a young guy still. I didn't know the game here until I finally realized, and then people knew my reputation. There's nothing the coach can say about me now, because everybody knows me, from a teammate, from the agents, from the gym. So it's now, but when you're a young guy, even if you do something right or wrong, they don't care about ruining your reputation, because it saves their job.
Right. And, it could be like any one little small thing. It could be like something that you don't think twice about, but to them, they think like, oh, this is the worst thing you could have done. Like, come back, like, you hear it down. I guess happened to me, like, I heard it down the line, like, oh, I heard about you. I was like, bro, that was like the smallest non-issue situation, ever. And then, but all of a sudden you hear it like a year or two down the line from somebody that in another country, a different club, like what? I'm like, okay. So definitely got to be conscious about stuff like that.
You live or you learn, and if you don't learn from your experiences, there's a reason why I'm still playing. It ain't because I'm the most athletic and the smartest IQ. It's just because people, when they think of me, they know what I do. They know that I'm a good guy. I'm not a disruptor. I'm not a cancer. And I do my job. I'm an ultimate professional.
So I'm sure you've got a lot of horror stories throughout the years doing with clubs, and without naming any names or giving away anything, can you give us some experiences you've had?
I don't have those many compared to most guys who played overseas. Luckily, I've only had one team screw me out of money, and I'm not going to say their name, but I got most of it at the end because I went to bad and I was able to get my money or reach a agreement before they went bankrupt. And all I'm going to say is we both were on that team together, and I actually told you, Casey, I said, hey, man, you better get that thing going. I'm telling you right now, this is not looking good for them.
They still, I'm not going to ask you guys, you search them, but they definitely owe, not just me, but pretty much everybody on that team.
They're back in A2, so, I mean, maybe it's still plausible. I don't know how that works. If a team disappears and then reappear, does it still count on the books or not? You know better than me.
I don't know, but I do know a friend went there recently, and I told them against it. Don't do it.
I told a couple guys. So that's funny you say that. So now I'm at the point in my career where sometimes guys, some I know, some I don't know, they might hit me up and say, hey, how was the team? How was the coach? Did they pay on time? And I mean, like I said, I'm a pretty fair guy. I tell them the pros and the cons. And then at the end of the day, you still have to decide, on your own. And I see some guys who didn't sign there and then some guys who still signed there and then they got screwed. So, when you go overseas, it's very smart to see who played there, regardless if you know them or not, and ask them, because coaches and agents, they do that to you. So you have to do the same thing to them. Ask other guys who played there and try to get as much information. And
that's
not
question
just
number one now. Hey, do they pay?
Yeah.
Do they pay on time?
Yeah. So that's the only one time I got screwed out of money. But I've been screwed in other ways, meaning like benched or tried to get cut or blaming me for something I'm not responsible for or I didn't do.
Right.
I think that happens on any team, no matter if you're in America.
That's Europe and NBA. That's everywhere. That's basic stuff. But I think specifically when it comes to Europe, you can make some good money, but then you also, you can also have a lot of issues dealing with money and, just because stuff does not work the way we think it works over here, like contract wise. And in some countries, I'm not going to name specifically, but it definitely feels like it's more of an option, like an optional thing than it is like, we agreed to this. It's ironclad.
Once you're out your country, you're dealing with their rules, their leverage. There's not a strong players union like there is in America when you're actually in your own country, and that's even for the local guys within their own country in Europe. Like they don't even have the strongest union. So
they got it worse, actually.
They definitely need to improve that. I don't know when or how long it will take, but because teams and agents, they're going to take advantage of it as long as they can. They take advantage of it now.
FIBA doesn't enough.
Yeah, because FIBA covers too much. It covers too many countries. Like they're not big enough. I think now I haven't did research, but I'm just assuming because there's a lot of countries with pro hoop around the world. I don't think FIBA is big enough where they can deal with everything in a timely fashion and make sure everybody's taken care of. So we'll see. Maybe once I'm playing, for sure.
There definitely needs to be some better solutions and it needs to work a little bit more like soccer does, because it just keeps growing. The sport keeps growing, and to not have those type of protections is only going to hurt it more, keep Europe from really getting to that next level. For me, that's honestly number one reason why it's not bigger than it is already, is stuff like that. And like you said, we played on a certain team together, and a lot of stories from that year, man.
To me, that was the most dysfunctional team I've ever been on in Italy. I was doing pretty good for a while, Dario, before I met up with you and your little knucklehead.
Despite everything, I had a good year. Despite all that, I had a good, professionally, I had a really good year.
People out there, we finished second to last or third to last. We had to wait till our last game to make sure we didn't go down, basically. Right. Like teams in all the divisions, either you go down or go up. It depends on how. And we were the bottom teams that year.
We had a lot of talent on that team. It was just
but we know that don't mean shit nowadays.
Issues left and right and all types of craziness. Like the year before I was in Capo de Orlando. My lineup was me, Brad Burgess from VCU, Dominic Archie, South Carolina, Johnny Flynn, Austin Freeman from Georgetown, Gianluca Basile. People that don't know, he's an absolute legend in Italy and Europe, just a lot. We had a lot of very high level players on a very small team, and some of the stories I've had from there, like, just kept us from reaching the potential that we could have, because that was probably the most eye-opening year I've ever been through as a professional. Like, okay, this is you gotta approach things a little differently here, because you never know what can happen from week to week. Like it's crazy, man.
And also, it's about leadership, man. You got to have leaders. One guy from the locals to be a leader, and you got to have a guy from the imports or the Americans to be the leader. Because you can have all the time in the world, but if you ain't got somebody to bring it all together and have all the guys listen to, then everybody's gonna try to do what they want when they want. And if you don't have a strict, firm coach to keep them aligned, which we didn't, he was more of a player's coach. And guys,
I love him though, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I like him a lot, man.
Yeah, it didn't work for that team overall. Yeah,
he needs a different situation. I don't think much was gonna work in that situation, anyways. To be honest.
Yeah. Oh,
obviously,
I did slap a guy in practice once. That's once we knew the season was over with, and it was just a lot of frustration.
Was it you slap him or did he slap you? I can't quite.
No. You remember? Don't do that. Don't fake news now. Don't Donald Trump me, bro. Oh no. I have to put the baby powder. Good time. You know it's bad when dudes are slapping dudes. You know that's not a winning team when that happens.
Oh man, it was crazy year. Crazy year. I had 2 crazy years back to back, both in Italy. So, go figure.
That year, right? Didn't you leave? Or you had one more year before you left?
For what?
After Caserta. You left Italy after that.
With France.
Yeah.
After that. Guaranteed money, pay on time, professional, things that clubs don't always have, but that is what it is. So, playing overseas basketball, it's people think it's like, oh, you're busy all the time, but honestly, no, you have a lot of downtime in between practices and games, and especially if you're not playing like in a European competition, like in Euro Cup or Champions League or EuroLeague, you have quite honestly a lot of free time on your hands, especially if you're not married or have your family with you. So, a lot of guys spend that time playing video games, watching TV show, movies, whatever. Yep. But I think that that time could definitely be used more productively. And I know you are somebody who does more than just basketball, and you've done a few projects on your own on the side.
Yeah. I mean, my first couple years overseas, I played a lot of video games. I watched a lot of movies, TV shows. And like you said, you have a lot of free time, but you don't have free time to kind of travel and do what you want. Our schedule is put up to where we have free time, but not multiple days to leave and do stuff. We have free time within the day to stay home. So it's kind of misleading, but like I said, my first 2 years when I was still adjusting to Europe or Italy, I would play a bunch of video games and all that. But then after a while, people kept asking me the same stuff. How is it? Blah, blah, blah. And, I'm an introvert, so I don't like talking to too many people per day, and especially having to say the same thing over and over again. And I got my degree in writing in college, so I quickly came up with the idea to start a blog to where people, if you want to know what I'm doing, go to my blog. And after you read it, if we talk, you can ask better questions because you already got the gist of what's been going on from month to month or whatever, whenever I post. And then after a year or two, I got bored with that. And I was like, I want to up the ante because that's how life is. You got to keep evolving. You got to keep staying creative. So I was like, all right, I want to start making videos instead of writing, because then writing got boring because it takes a lot of time, of course. So does video producing and editing, don't get me wrong. But it was a new challenge. It was a new thing I wanted to learn. And being overseas, you have 9 months out of the country. And I learned every time I went somewhere overseas, I wanted to learn a new skill, no matter if it was video editing or how to download certain apps or read books on something or watch a couple of videos from experts or motivational. Like I wanted to learn a new skill or a new mindset. So when I came back home for the summer, I applied it, I networked with people, and I kept hopefully branding myself or whatever. But until like 5 years ago, I said, okay, I want to make a documentary. And when I was in Rome, I made a documentary with my boy, Will Harris, great editor. He actually has a YouTube channel called Anatomy of a Fighter. Very successful channel now. Gets about 1 million views per episode, MMA content. And I flew him out to Rome. We did a documentary. I interviewed 9 Americans, women, men. They shared the trials and tribulations, the good, the bad, why they came, everything. Because I have my story, but I wanted to bring as many stories together to show a better overall story. And it was a learning experience. I loved it. It was hard. I spent a lot of money. Now I know how to do it smartly, budget better. But it was something that I needed to do to understand if that was the next step in my storytelling that I wanted to do to get people to respect what I do. Because you can do one thing and people are, you did it, okay. But you got to keep new things coming out over and over again. So that's what I've been doing. Now I got YouTube. I got another documentary I'm working on about my high school program in Dominguez. And I do my travels with my daughter. We post up dad-daughter stuff and my solo travels.
So a couple things, but we'll talk about Will Harris. So for people that don't know, like you said, he does Anatomy of a Fighter. I think I actually didn't realize that he was the one who helped you with that video, but I figured out later once I saw the anatomy of a fighter. And then I believe he also was on like the Joe Rogan podcast, stuff like that. Yeah. He has a crazy story too about how he kind of started getting into his side of things. But yeah. I think he's most famous for the Khabib anatomy of a fighter. Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the top UFC fighters right now out there in, I forget the country, but he did a great anatomy of a fighter on him. I think that's really that was his biggest one to date, probably, because it kind of showed a different side of somebody who you don't really get to see in a whole different culture in a way and whatnot. So kind of how did you guys like link up and start that whole process?
So like I said, when I had the idea, I didn't have a camera. I didn't know how to edit yet. And so for me, I wanted to make the best documentary possible. So I didn't want to use this great idea and learn how to edit and put that into the picture because it would look crap. It would look horrible. I wanted to find somebody who had a good camera, who knew how to edit, so I can express to them my vision. And Will, he used to be a hooper. One of my former teammates from UW, Justin Dittman, him and Will are from the same town, Carbondale, Illinois. So Justin Dittman had a thing on YouTube called Hunger for More. And when I looked at it as I was doing research for editors, it was good. It was good visually. It was edited well. So I said, Justin, who I know you didn't do this. You ain't that smart. Who did this video for you, guy? And he was like, man, it was my boy Will. So he sent me his information. I looked him up. I was like, hey, Will, I got this idea. I know you're a hooper. You have the mindset of a hooper. So I thought he was perfect for it because I wanted somebody who was familiar with sports already. And I had a couple extra flight round trip tickets because sometimes when you sign with teams, you get round trip tickets on your contract. Mm-hmm. So when I was in Rome, I had a couple. What? No?
Give away trade secrets. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm out here telling people I ain't got nothing. I got nothing for them. You know what I'm saying?
Some people don't got those in their contract.
I don't get those in my contract, right?
So I told him the idea, and at that time he was doing weddings. Like his hustle was doing weddings. He was getting hired, flying across the country doing weddings. That was his hustle. Like after he got done hooping, he tried the acting thing for a while, and then that didn't work. So he bought him a camera. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna visualize stuff. So at that time he was hustling doing weddings. And so then he came, we did my doc. The following summer, we spent 4 days in Seattle at my condo. And that's when I first learned about editing. He was like, I'm coming there for 4 days, we're gonna edit this and we're gonna put it's gonna be done. I'm like, all right, whatever. Literally for 4 days, like 8 hours a day, I'm just looking at him, watching him edit. He's asking me stuff and I'm telling him stuff. And that was my first time actually putting together a story visually, video format wise, and it was time consuming. But when it was done, it's like having a baby. It's like you look at it like, wow, I created that, and that's going to live on forever. And when I did that, I knew, okay, I'm gonna be doing storytelling. It's just a matter of on what platform, what kind of stories involving who I don't know, but I fell in love with it. And then Will, he started taking off doing stuff in Florida with other fighters, and then he thought of anatomy of a fighter, and now, so many years later, like you said, Joe Rogan, he's very well known. His footage is used on other ESPN and stuff. And now that I'm older, it's weird because I'm like, I guess that's how relationships grow. Because we see people who's older than us that's famous, who are friends with other famous people or other successful people. But at the beginning, they both were just grinding, and they both kept working hard, and maybe one put the other one on, or they both got put on at the time. So now I look. Okay, I remember we did our stuff together before all this, and it's about life experiences.
Yeah, I think one thing I've noticed is, especially like motivated kind of people like that, they always kind of find a way to like attract to each other, and kind of that's why you see them kind of going up at the same time. You have that connection because you guys understand that passion, that kind of drives to do what you're doing and to keep doing what you're doing. Because a lot of people that will do stuff like you said and just do it one time and then that's it. But that's just the starting point. Like you have to keep doing it over and over and over. And it's that repetition that really makes you exceptional at something. You know, it's one thing that you learn as an athlete, specifically as a basketball player, that I apply specifically to like being to more creative endeavors, is that it's the repetition and it's the practice of doing something. Like, yeah, you might be trash at it now, but if you keep doing it, if you look at where you started, a couple of years ago to like where you are now, and you see that progress, and it's crazy. And it's just those little steps of keep doing it over and over and over again. Like even if you don't maybe get the response you want, but you just keep doing it, it's just going to keep getting better over time. And I think that's something that a lot of people get.
when I bought a camera, I asked him, I was like, hey, what's a good camera to start off with? He sent me a link of a couple different cameras. And 3 years ago, I bought my first camera. The next thing I was like, what's editing software do you use? He told me what editing software. I started using it once in a while, practicing. But it was horrible at the beginning. Like I would just start off editing my own highlight tapes so I can get the confidence and add my music. And then once I got the hang of that, I was like, okay, let me start doing, because I would pay other editors to do my YouTube videos. But after a while, I got tired of paying money, and it would come out good, but not with the vision that I saw it with, the notes I sent them. So I was like, you know what, man, just go ahead and start editing, bro. You know you want to do it. So I finally started pushing myself to edit more. But it all started because of Will, because he was already so far ahead of me in that game, and I wanted to be like him. I saw him not as competition, but I saw him as a person that I wanted to do what he was doing. Maybe not MMA stuff, but in my own lane. And like you said, that's what having people in different careers, but you can keep inspiring each other and bounce ideas off of each other. And we were supposed to do a short film here in Rome with my daughter when she's supposed to come during her spring break. There's going to be like a dad-daughter short film in Rome on vacation. It's going to be scripted. Like that was going to be the next step for me because I want to take the next step. But then all this stuff went down. So maybe next year though, we'll see.
Yeah, I have a similar story basically with, LLF Living Life Fearless, as you see. We started out as a blog for college, basically. It was personal branding. I've said this multiple times, but it was personal branding kind of course, and we had to do a blog. And like you, like I didn't want to just keep talking about myself, that for me, that just gets old and boring and whatnot. So I started reaching out and looking at what other people are doing, because that's really what pushes me and drives me is seeing what other people that I consider like dope people and inspiring people to see that they're continuing to push, and it don't even have to be in the same area. And like you said, I don't even look at them as competition, but it's like, okay, that's a goal. Like that's a measure. Like if they keep going, I definitely had to keep going. Like, and then we're going to see where everything is at the end. And that's kind of like, I basically taught myself how to code. I taught myself how to, design wise on web and stuff like that and apps. And, and where it started at was very, very rough. And like, to like up to this point now, like a lot of people stop at that point though. A lot of people stop at that point because it's like, man, this is some shit. Because I remember looking back, like at the time, I'm like, damn, this is dope. Like I did this myself. Like, oh, this is hard. Like,
yeah, for sure. It's my doc. I think it's still the amazing doc ever. But if I look back now at it, it's an hour and 29 minutes. If I look at it, I'm like, man, that's way too long. I need to make it 50 minutes. But at that time, I wanted to keep everything. I didn't know nothing about cutting stuff off. Like it was 2 hours, and Will was like, hey, man, that's too long. Ain't nobody going to watch this shit. I don't care how good of it is. Ain't nobody spending 2 hours watching this. So we cut to 1:30. He's like, man, we got to cut it down more. I was like, no, man, we ain't cutting it down no more. I was stubborn. But now looking back, he was right. I needed to cut it down more. But I was like, I got all these stories, these funny stories. But as an editor, I didn't know yet because I was just telling him what to do. But now that I'm editing, I'm like, as I made my last video, it was 20 minutes. I'm like, man, I got to cut it down. But it was hard. But you got to do it. But I didn't know any. So it just takes repetition for you to learn these things. So. Uh-oh. Done froze.
Eat all that, like, yeah, that was a cool idea, but it's not necessary. And you kind of, like you said, as you go years go by, you become more refined and you really understand what like the essential parts are, and like start stripping stuff back, highlighting certain things, and and getting it to the point where it's like looking real professional and stuff. And it's just a whole process. And like I said, a lot of people, they stop at that first point because they don't think they're good at something. And the fact is, nobody's good at anything when they first start out. Like nobody. But it's that point where you can keep pushing through it and just and keep getting better, even just incrementally. Mm-hmm. And you get to a point where it's like, damn, now people looking at you like, like you real expert at that stuff. And
it's like, man, that's real professional. And I'm like, really? And but it's like
when you see, when I look at it, I'm like, man, that's 2 pixels off. That should be moved over here. Like, I was just like, nah, I can do better. And keep over and over again. It's like a drug almost. Just because, I think athletes really understand that, because to get to that level, a high level, you have to be really love something, really be like almost addicted to it, to keep doing the same thing day in and day out over and over and over again, to just see incremental changes. Because when you learn something new, especially like basketball, it's like you're not gonna just automatically be good at it, but it's those baby steps that add up throughout the time. And something I think I've applied. And I think more athletes, if they took that and used it into different areas, you could see even crazier things. That's why I like to see athletes who do stuff outside of basketball. It doesn't just involve, video games or TV and stuff. Like,
it's because they accomplished so much to be a basketball player, which is great. But we all know you can't play basketball forever. So a lot of them think, I'll deal with it once that time happens. And that's the last way. That's the last way you want to think about it. No, you want to start while you're still popular, while you're still playing, while these people still care about you. Because once you stop playing, just naturally people stop caring.
Fall off. Yeah.
It's just how it is as an athlete. Like once you're done, even if you made millions of dollars, people stop caring. Even if NBA player, like you're not an NBA player no more, you might have, but that mental, like people aren't paying attention to me, I'm not being interviewed. It's real. It's real. Yeah. And I had a brief, very short realization of that 2 years ago. After I finished in Italy in Mantova in the second division, we finished like in 9th place. And I had a couple of selfish teammates. We didn't really achieve what we thought. We had a really good team. But come summer, my Italian agent was like, I ain't got nothing for you. I was like, what? What you mean? And he was like, ain't no teams interested. And I was like, word? So then, because, around July, everybody's like, yeah, when you leaving? Where you going? Yeah. And I was just like, man, I'm still waiting. And so then it hit me like, wow, these motherfuckers really trying to end me. Like I took
it. It's like, unceremonious, bro. Like,
and so I waited all September. And it dawned on me, I was like, man, this might be it. So I told my daughter, I was like, hey, baby, you see I'm still here, right? Because normally I leave at the end of August, and I was there for a first day of school, and I'm back in LA, and my grandma didn't realize it. It was like September, October. She was like, are you going back? I was like, Grandma, this is September 20th. I will be gone by. She was like, you right. Wow. And then literally like a week later, my agent called me, and he was like, hey, I got a team. The season starts literally in 2 days. So I missed all preseason. He's like, I got a team. They want to get rid of this guy. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to wait till January, because that's like the point where teams try to change their roster. And he was like, man, if you don't take this, I doubt somebody's going to take you. But as an agent, that's his job to convince me to take the damn offer. And it worked. So then I went back, and now people forgot about that. Like 2 years ago, now it's like that ain't never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, it's very much, as much as you love basketball, it don't always love you back the same way that you love it, especially, when it comes to the business side of things. So I always say, if you're going to do something, do it now. Like start doing it now, especially like you said, like you can make as much money as you want, but when you're done, like all that money coming in is dry. Now you got to find something else. Like now you just spending money that's just, it's stockpiled. Like you just see it going down. But if you spend the money now and the time now and building something now, at least you got something still coming in while you're doing it, on top of it. So like you want to start now. You don't want to try to start doing this, at the end of your career and be like, damn, now what I'm gonna do, I think, like I said, like Kobe passing was like, I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan until like later on in his career, when he really started showing that kind of other side to him, that he has all this other stuff doing. And like, I think if anything comes out of it, like I hope like his situation specifically like inspires more athletes to do that, to have that second act, to have that other side of you. Like it's okay to have, as much as he loved basketball, he still had other passions, and still translated that into other things. And hopefully that inspires other people too. Because I think as athletes, we can do more. Like we can do more. We have a bigger impact than we are right now, for sure.
I bought a condo 5 years ago, and my financial advisor told me, he was like, man, you need to buy something, bro. Like you spending $2,000, $2,500 a month in the summer. Renting. Yeah, and I'm living in these nice places for 2-3 months, and then come back to Italy because obviously we don't pay for rent when we're in another country. But he was like, man, we need to buy a place. So finally, I bought a place. It wasn't like the place where I'm going to live the rest of my life, but it was a rental property. And 5 years later, I've had tenants paying my mortgage, my house note, and now my house is worth $50,000 more than I bought it. And
Right.
every month somebody's paying that off. So I already made 50,000, and then somebody's every month basically canceling out all my. So I was like, man, why didn't I do this my second, third year? Because I had NBA money still. So I was like, why didn't I do that my first, second, third year out? I could have like 3 rental properties and having people every 3 years buying a new place, having somebody rent it out. So by the time I'm done hooping, I could have 4 rental properties and I ain't spent nothing because I'm living overseas, and that's balancing out everything else. But it's never too late. I did it and I can do it again. But that's one overseas. You got to take advantage of those little loopholes we have. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Nah, I started myself a few years back, got my own place, and my sister's, I live in AZ, so it's a little different. Like in the wintertime when we're gone, it's vacation time. So I don't even do full-time rentals. I just do part-time vacation rentals, and in 3-4 months I pay my whole mortgage for the year, and like you said, my house is already up 70,000 from when I bought it, and not that long ago. And it's like, okay, why aren't people, more people need to be kind of putting this out there, that knowledge out there, because people don't really have that knowledge about what to do now. Like once you, you get money, but you can do so much more. That's on that, definitely.
And it's not flashy, that's all. But when it comes to getting a loan or starting a new business, and now you can show that you've been paying off this house for 5-7 years, the banks care about that. Easy. I care about what the banks do. I don't care about what social media thinks. Social media ain't giving me no loans to start a business or open up a line of credit, because they want to see that you've been paying on something year in, year out, that you're consistent. So, like I said, I didn't realize that at the beginning either. But the sooner you do, the better you are, and that's one thing I would suggest to any overseas hooper. Save like 20, 30 up, drop the first payment down on that, get a place and rent it out. And then when you're done hooping, sell it, and then use that money you made to buy your house. Put the down payment on the house. Like, now you're good. So that's one tip for sure. I would tell all my overseas hoopers, young guys, invest for that, man. Have your 1-2 summers where you splash, you travel, you do what you do. But after that first, second summer, you start saving it up to buy something.
Yep, buy something big, and not just bags and belts and shoes, and buy something that can hold you down, especially through times like this. I can do a whole podcast on some of that, but
for real.
But now, we gotta get to the main subject. One of the main subjects, you're in Italy, and you've been out there all year. Well, not all year, but you've been out there a good portion of the year so far. And you're right there in the middle of the brunt of it. What's going on with coronavirus, COVID-19, and the whole world's kind of going crazy.
Well,
and, you staying.
Definitely in Europe. Italy is the epicenter of it spreading around Europe. Each country, each continent has their different starting point, but here in Europe, it started off in Italy, at least. That's from what we know. That's who was testing first, I guess. But since then, we've been on lockdown. Today marks the 3rd week. Tomorrow will start the 4th week. And a lot of Americans went home. A lot of Americans stayed. And I decided to stay because, for one, the team I'm on here in Verona, very professional team. They pay on time. And as long as they paying, I'm staying. That's my saying. So I know a lot of guys who are on teams where they're probably not getting paid. So, and I get why they would dip, because there's no point. And as I was telling you earlier before we started recording, everything back in the States is just beginning with more testing and understanding the numbers. And so for me, I have my daughter in Seattle, but she's okay. She's well. I have my dad. He's 65, 64. He's a little older, but he smokes cigarettes, and for 40, 45 years, his lungs are depleted. So if I go back, I will go back staying with him. And I don't know if I have it, if I don't. Once I go back there en route, I might catch it. And if he catches it, it's a wrap for him. So for me, I thought it was just best to stay here, wait it out. And while I'm waiting, I got the idea to make a video documenting the first week. And I'm going to keep documenting. But the first video I put out generated a lot of good buzz. A lot of people saw it, gave me great feedback. Went on a couple radio shows so far. And I'm just going to ride this momentum. It gave me great confidence because, like I said, I love editing. But I got a lot of footage from Italy, Japan, where I haven't put out just because I'm lazy, or, like I said, I'm an introvert. I don't like putting my life out too much. But after this video I put out documenting the first week, it gave me more reassurance that I should keep doing it, be funny, insert music, some very good audio clips of experts, doctors, people talking about the situation, because it's going on all around the world. So it connects all of us. So that was a great video that I made to give people a glimpse of what's going on here and what can happen wherever you're at in the world.
Yeah, so I watched the video. You know, it was all right, bro. Yeah, it was all right.
What was your
favorite part? You know, honestly, you know, I watched your previous videos, but did you edit this one yourself?
Yeah, I sure.
All right, so I was, you know, I was pleasantly surprised, man. Your editing, like I said, has definitely improved. You know, you know, all the cuts, all the little sound choices were prime choices. You know, all the little inserts here and there. Like it really looks like a very professional edited thing. Like I was pleasantly surprised by it, and you know, it's dope to see you that progress. Like I can see that progress from when, you know, you first started.
That's the main thing that people are scared to do, because as athletes, our coaches, they get on us when we do something bad and when we do something good. So regardless, they're going to say something to you. So you might as well just play your game, do what you got to do. So when I made this video, I was like, man, should it be funny? Should it be serious? Do I want to, because I had some more jokes where I was like, am I going to make people mad? Like I could have, but after so many days, I was able to balance it out and make the video, like I said, a little bit of everything so people can understand it's funny, it's serious, but it's real. This is what's really going on. And the music choice, everything was, I was happy with the result. When I saw it, you know, everybody think they make good stuff, but then once I saw it, I was like, man, this should be good.
This is it.
This is it. I was like, this should be good. They don't like this one, then, man. I don't know what else I can do.
I was like, hold up. You know, I think it was great, you know, mix, like you said, of more serious attention to what is going on in the country, because a lot of people don't actually know what that looks like in Italy, like what, you know, how daily life is, how it's being handled. That you just hear stories, you just hear news, but you don't really get a firsthand perspective from it. I think that's such a dope thing to do, to instinctively know as a storyteller, like I need to capture this. This is a moment, you know, like I gotta show this to what's going on. And then the way you mixed, you know, the levity with the seriousness to kind of break things up in the show. That's not all doom and gloom, because if you look at the news these days, it's all doom and gloom basically. But, you know, there's different sides to it, and the way you captured it all and put it into, you know, one package I was impressed. You know, my first thought of the scene, I was like, man, he ain't edited this shit. I wanted to hate out. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to text you like, I was like, I know you ain't edited this shit, bro. Like,
everybody asked me, they was like, did you edit this? And I was like, yep. Before I put yep, and I looked at it before I hit reply, I'm like, yeah, they about to do that. Yeah. I wanted to put it at the end by me, but I didn't want to rub it in. So I was like,
you want to put edited, but you want to put edited by Bobby Jones, written by Bobby Jones, directed by Bobby Jones.
Maybe the second one. But no, I did it. Once I talked to people, I let them know. But yeah, it was me. It was yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was probably one of the best looks inside Italy I've seen so far on the internet, for sure. Like, and to see it from that perspective is something that I think people would definitely be interested in. More people should see.
I watched a lot of videos to get audio to just form my own opinion, because like I said, when this first started, I didn't think it was going to get to this point. And I'm American. So I'm like, okay, if I thought this and I'm American in Italy, imagine American in America that's not even here. So I said, this is a great opportunity for me, because I was naive too. I didn't realize it. Like I said, this is not a disease where if you catch it, you will die. But this is a disease where it's very contagious, to where it spreads very fast. And I did research about SARS and the swine flu and Ebola. Like, all those are more serious than this disease, but it wasn't
extremely contagious.
Yeah, it wasn't as contagious. So this one was more contagious, where it's not. So that's why I had to learn and listen to experts and doctors and not journalists. And then but I wanted to use some journalist footage to show a lot of people get their information from journalists, from news, and their job is just to scare folks, not to help you
sensationalize,
everything. So, and that's why I wanted to use news stuff, stuff from experts, stuff from doctors, stuff from very just smart people from different podcasts, and just put it all together, because that's what's about, getting information from everywhere so you can come to one conclusion. A lot of people just get their information from the
source
that fits their opinion.
Right.
And they use that to like, this is what's going on. Look, see, yeah, we can find something to support our opinion anywhere nowadays. Like,
right. If you look at when it first broke out, you looked at Fox News, and you looked at, say, CNN, the coverage could be like night and day between, what it is. Fox News might say it's a hoax and this is just a common cold. And, CNN might say, this is the Black Plague coming along, Spanish flu. So I did like that. I did catch that. I did like how you put in elements from all perspectives and all kind of, voices. And so people can actually formulate their own opinion, because that's what you need to have like a good opinion. That's, for me, like in this internet age, that's the greatest thing is that everybody has their own voice and thought. And the worst thing is that everybody has their own voice and thought, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, it's great that information is all out there, but it's bad because people aren't necessarily taking in all the information and forming a real opinion about stuff. And I've heard some terrible terrible takes on the situation in Italy, like, oh, the healthcare system's bad, or that this what happens. Like, no, the healthcare system in Italy is actually one of the best in the world. The problem with coronavirus that people understand is that, like you said, it's not that you catch it and you die. It's that if so many people get it at the same time, it doesn't matter how good your healthcare system is, it's going to overwhelm what you have and what your resources are. And that's why Italy is so hard hit, is that it just overwhelmed so fast and so many people that the system could not handle the influx of, people that needed help and assistance. Yeah. And, it's crazy, like, because I was just in Milan, I was at your game actually, like maybe 2 weeks before this really like started to pop up there, and like just how quickly it went from nothing. Like the week I got there, it was like, oh, it's nothing. They might check your temperature when you come, but there's no restrictions. And then like literally like a week and a half later, they like shut down like Milan, and like I was like, damn, like, that was fast. Like
it happened. And the sad part about all this, like, I learned that the disease was discovered, the strain was discovered in December. And once that was public information, because we all heard about it in December, I remember hearing about it. Every country should have started testing for it in January. There was no excuse. I don't think no country took it serious yet. We was hearing it because it was a joke. It was this. We didn't realize it because, like I said, with technology. And so all the countries lost at least a month and a half of testing people to understand it better. But then it was too late, and then it took its own. It's a disease.
Yeah, once it got into the wild, it was too loose. Yeah, it was.
And America is the greatest country in the world for sure, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. And the fact that they had to wait to see what other countries did to make a decision on their own country shows that our healthcare system is flawed. While in Italy, where you don't have to pay for health insurance because it's just part of daily living, you're able to collect as much information as possible because people aren't hesitating to want to go to the doctor because they're worried about having to pay money.
Pay $1,500 for a test, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
So in a moment of crisis, people aren't thinking about that. They're just doing it. They're reacting so the government can get as much information so they can make a decision. And that's what Italy did. But America saw what another country did, and then they reacted off them. One of the strongest countries in the world reacted up to a country that's the size of a state compared to America. That says a lot.
My biggest issue with the way we handle it over here was that we had, like you said, we had months lead time to prepare for it. And like, we didn't do anything. Like, we didn't do what we were supposed to be doing. Like, we saw it coming from China, like you said, back in December almost. Like, we have time to really prepare for this. And there's no problem with being over-prepared for something. You'd rather be over-prepared than be caught with the pants down like we were. So it's just, that's probably the most frustrating part, is that we, if anything, we had the best chance to like be prepared for it because we saw it coming. Everybody saw it coming. Like, and maybe it didn't actually travel. Maybe it didn't actually, spread to the countries. Okay, but what hurt? Like, you spent some money, you became prepared, and you had people ready for the worst situation, not just, oh, now this is the worst situation, now let's try to ramp up. Like, nah, you should have been ramped up.
What I tell people, because I think it's a natural thing as humans, we don't worry about it until it's at your doorstep. Like, I thought about this concept. So let's say we lived on the same block, and the house that is across the street from you to the left is on fire. Now you're across the street, your house is across the street. So you're seeing that house on fire, and you're like, all right, that house is on fire, but my house ain't gonna catch on fire. And then let's say the house next to it catches on fire because they have trees in the backyard. So it goes to the trees and goes to the next house. Now that house is on fire. And now that house is right across from you. You're looking like, well, it's still across the street. Now let's say the telephone pole or another tree in the front yard catches on fire. And that tree falls across the street and lands on your house. Now your house is on fire. Now you want to react. Where you had a chance to react when you saw those houses across the street, but you're thinking, because you see it's not literally by you. No, that's not how you, like, you don't know what's going to happen. Humans are so naive, and we think that until it happens or we feel invincible, and it backfired on us this one. But hopefully we learn from it. That's the silver lining of it all. Like, this isn't
There's a lot of bad things to this. Obviously, people dying, businesses losing money, businesses going under, people getting fired, people losing their job. Like, there's a lot of negative impacts to this. But there's also a silver lining, is that, to me, that I think hopefully this changes people's mindset and people realize just how fragile, like, our systems are, and like how our world that we live in really is, and like how we take things so for granted that this will always be the way it is, when look what happened. It didn't take much for shit to like collapse. Like, it really did not take much at all, and how unprepared we were and how unsustainable the way we were living and the way, certain systems are going really is. And like how it's always on a knife edge. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to always live on that edge, like praying and hoping something like this never happens again, when we know historically it will happen again. And it's just not, it's a matter of when, not if. And like I said, if anything, hopefully this changes people's mindsets going forward about, how systems and how our system is set up and how things need to change. Like, because the way we are right now is just not sustainable and not good for us.
And the other part about it, America is one of the richest countries in the world. So the way we deal with it, people can still go home and sit in their house and watch TV, do whatever. There's poorer countries who are slums where they don't have separation.
Ain't no stay at home. Yeah.
Where they're all screwed. So like I said, there's still first world problems, and then there's everybody else. Like, America still has it bad, but it's still not as bad as other countries. So,
like, oh my God, I gotta stay at home with all my food and TV and air conditioning. And I'm like, it's like, all right, bro. Like, yeah, it sucks that you can't go out and do what you want to do, but at the same time, it's like you could have it so much worse. And that's something I always kind of try to keep in mind when I'm going through shit like this.
Yeah, and so like I said, I hope people can learn from this, and we can change a lot of government laws, healthcare laws, because lives is more important than the market. Like, right. Our values, our priorities. And of course, they can say, oh, you got more money than me, so that's why you're saying that. And that could partially be true, but overall, lives are more important than making money. Because if you don't take care of your wealth and other people next to you, we're all going to fall as a country, as a society, because China is about to become the most powerful country in the world now, because they know they're it's not a great country, but they're communism. They got a dictator. People do what he says. And now with the American market falling, China's already recovering. And who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of years. Like, it's self-discipline. We gotta be for each other. If not, then we're all going to fall together.
Yeah, and people are gonna blame the virus for any fallout that possibly would come from that. But to me, the virus is just a small part of it and more of a symptom than the main problem. The main problem was the way it was set up and the way we were operating and running. That if the way we're running and if your way you're operating can go and collapse as easily as it did, and bring you to the point that you're worried about getting to by one instance, then that was not a good system. That was not a good setup. Like, period. Like if my car can only run, 99% of the time, and like if these conditions are met all the time, but then that one condition that maybe 1 out of a million happens, then all of a sudden it's done. Like, that's not a good. Then like all safety goes out the window. Then your airbags stop, your seatbelts don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. Like, that's not, I'm not going to get in the car. I'm not going to get into that system. I'm not going to take that chance. And like, that's kind of the what we've been operating on. And if anything, it just shows how vulnerable, like I said, it was, and just how things need to change. And hopefully things do change. If anything, like anytime there's a big situation like this, it brings a lot of opportunity for change and tough change that people didn't want to make, but that you have no choice but to make now. So,
yep, change happens usually after the fact, not because somebody has a great idea and everybody rose, but it usually happens when something tragic happens, and now it's like, okay, we need to find a way not to let this happen again. No matter what is war, slavery, diseases, education, technology. Usually you have to take a step back before you take the next 2 steps forward. So hopefully, like I said, we learn from it. I know I learned from it being in Italy, and just overall, because I've been a pretty open-minded guy. Like, I wouldn't be able to live in another country this long if I wasn't, but I still have a long ways to go. But I know there's people who's way further back than me. And so we all got to do it together. If not, we're all going to fall together.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so you did that one, what's the title of it again?
Documentary. Yeah. First one. It's called Basketball Jones, The Overseas Journey. You can find it on video.com/Basketball Jones.
And then you just dropped this first week look at Italy throughout the coronavirus crisis.
It's on my YouTube channel, Bobby Ray Jones Jr., and it's called COVID-19, my first 7 days under lockdown. And yeah, it's on my YouTube channel.
So you have any plans for the future? Gonna do another one of these?
I'm gonna keep it going, man. I can't be a one-hit wonder. So I'm already working, because I just been documenting. Like I said, when I made this video, I didn't know exactly how it was going to be, what format, the message. I was learning as I was going, just like we are doing life. And now with the second video, of course, I don't want it to resemble the first. I want it to be totally different. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel good. I'm just going to let my creativity, the energy, take over. But I'm definitely going to do another video, maybe summarizing week 2 and week 3. It won't be no Law and Order dun noise. It's going to be totally different. Like, I don't even want them to expect. I want to keep surprising them and letting them know, okay, all right, he's doing something. So I want to use this time to, like I said, people are paying attention, and I want to show that I know how to storytell, I know how to edit, I know good music, I know about information. I'm 36. I lived a good life so far, so I'm excited for the next video.
We'll definitely be checking for that. I'll probably do some post about this last video you dropped, and push it out to our crowd. And if anything, like I said before, like, nice to see you're using this opportunity, to this time as an opportunity to, like, really develop, something that you love, and to really continue to push yourself and create stuff, because a lot of people are not using this time. Like, people are just looking at this as a time to spend. No, this is a time to keep growing, to keep developing, and keep doing that stuff that you didn't have time to slow down and do. Like, this is the best time to do it now. Like, learn that something that you need to learn. Start that endeavor that you always wanted to start, that you felt like you never had time. This is the time. It's the opportunity. People should be making the most of it. Like, I'm just as busy, if not busier, than I was before all this happened. Like, and I think that's how people need to approach the situation. Like, this is not time. This is not a sentence. This is an opportunity for you to slow down and really do the other things in your life that you felt like you never had the time to do.
I mean, you kind of talked about what my second video is going to be about. I'm going to show, because I live in a complex where there's a small park, there's a basketball court. I'm going to kind of give a tour of how it looks, because I'm lucky compared to other people where I can actually run around. I can lay down with a picnic, make food. A lot of people just have their balcony. So I'm going to kind of show that aspect, and, some more important videos, updates of what's going on around here. But yeah, basically the video is just going to be about use this time alone to become better, to work on good habits, to understand what are you really doing? Are you really happy? Do you really want to do this job? So this is kind of going to be the premise of the second video a little bit, with some jokes or some funny stuff.
Definitely be checking it out. Thank you, man, for joining me on this podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Again, this is The Fearless Show. Today's date was March 29th, 2020. This will go out sometime a little later this week. And yeah, as always, guys, keep living life fearless. Check out Bobby on all his stuff. We will have it in the descriptions. Definitely check out his last videos. Very well done. And, use this time wisely.
Yes,
Thank you guys for listening. Yep. Thank you guys for listening. Catch you guys soon. Peace.